today we're going to be doing mushrooms. It was brought up to me by a friend who says she doesn't like mushrooms or doesn't know how to cook mushrooms to where she can like them. But that's easy fix. Anything can be good if you cook it right. If it's cooked right, then a lot of the stuff you don't like, you'd end up liking. Mushrooms took a bit for me. I was in culinary school when the chef says, write down the 5 favorite things you like to eat. Now write 5 things you don't like to eat. Then he turned around and says, well, you got to make these 5 items you don't like to eat, and you can't use any part of the 5 things you like to eat. And I'm like, I don't like mushrooms. Ooh, yuck. And he took me aside and says, here, we're going to take this portobello mushroom. We're going to marinate it in wine, garlic, rosemary, thyme, salt, and pepper. And we're going to let it marinate overnight. And then we're going to grill it. Well, the next day when I tried it, it was so good. It was just like eating a steak, basically. I mean, it was the same thing. Such good flavor. And then he took me aside the next day and showed me how if you saute the mushrooms in good butter, not margarine, but butter, and then you add garlic, onions, thyme, rosemary, whatever, that part. You can add that part. I've even added Italian seasoning. But you cook those, and you cook them till they're got caramelization on them. And then it's like the magic is pulled out of them, and they are so good. Once you learn them tricks about food, it just makes life so much nicer. So today we're going to be working with mushrooms. I got different ways of showing you how I'm doing them. And I'll show you the final outcome of my final meal for them. So, if you have a chance, subscribe to my channel. Like it if you like it. And follow. Thank you. And this is how we get ready for cooking mushrooms. I get an onion, cut it in half, cut the non-root side out. Now I'm going to cut these really thin. And we're going to just be adding it to the mushrooms. We don't want big chunks. Nice and thin. And then we can that should be enough. Right there. Then we got our golden oak shiitake mushrooms. Now I'm going to slice those up. I'm going to go into quarters. Not slices, but quarters. I want to keep them fairly the same size, so some of these aren't going to be in quarters, they're going to be in halves. Because you want to keep all your stuff the same size. Close as possible, anyway. Without cutting your finger off. That's important. Now you can cut these any way you want. You could actually do like this. Pop the stem off. And then you can slice it nice and thin too. You can do it that way too. You can do it any way you want. That's the great thing about cooking is you're doing your flavors, your style. But there's only some things that you have to keep control of. That is the heat. And that is the flavor. And the way you control the flavor is through seasonings and proper temperature cooking. You, as my name says on the YouTube channel, are the culinary avatar. And the reason I use that is because you are the person who controls the temperature. You control the fire. You control the heat. You control the amount of water used in it. You control the air and the earth. Earth being this, the food. Okay, now we're going to go over to a nice warm pan. Don't worry. The butter's just beautifully turning just a nice light brown color. Now we're going to add our mushrooms. Now we begin to cook the mushrooms. This is where you have to do it. This is where it happens. You've got those cooking. Now we're going to add just a little bit of sea salt. That's enough. And I'm going to add some pepper. Is it even coming out? There we go. Okay. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I do not like the taste or the smell of foot odor. I don't like the smell of mushrooms, which that's what it's like when you if you don't treat them right, they come out smelling like dirty feet. So, what we're going to do is we're going to create some other flavors. Here I'm adding my onions. After they just start to get soft, I'm going to add my onions. Just like that. And we can see we got enough butter there. It's just a coat, and we're going to continue cooking these. And we're going to continue cooking those until the mushrooms have caramelization on them. Until they have the caramelization, that's when the good flavors will come out. And it will change the whole flavor of the mushrooms as well as the texture. It won't be that soft, gooey mushroom. It'll be a crisp, but not hard. And it'll have a nice flavor. I can't even begin to explain how good this is. I got the temperature on just above medium high, so it's not too high and it's not too low. We don't want to sit and have to cook these for, however long it takes. Cook them on low, say. We're just going to let those sit now and cook. As we begin to see, there's some color. You can see that. We're starting to get there now. You can't rush good cooking. Good cooking takes time. You see the onions are caramelizing. The mushrooms are just lightly, they're nice, you're getting nice caramelization on it without being over caramelized. We're almost there. And this is the point where I'm going to add some garlic to it. I got some chopped garlic. More like minced garlic. Add that to it. And that's going to add flavor. Oh, smell a whole difference now. Now, before you got them all, look at that. Nice and brown color. That's just right where you want them. Now, we put in some wine. Just enough to get it right in the middle of it. And we're going to let this cook. And the wine's going to reduce down to a nappe, which is a thicker sauce. And then I'm going to show you one other little trick I do. This will make just mushrooms into a more of a mushroom sauce, which would be great on chicken. Oh, look at that. That is perfect. It's a nice thick sauce. Now, I'm going to take it off the heat. And I'm going to add butter to it. Now, off the heat, I'm letting the butter melt. But this butter is going to thicken up the sauce that I already have on there. And if that don't make your mouth drool, I'll have to cook you something else. Right there is some good flavors. As you can see, it's almost melted. And then we can make it, sauce it up, whatever you want to cook. Pork chops, chicken, steak, whichever you want. And we're going to go right here. There you have it. Sauteed mushrooms that dreams are made of. And if you want to make the plate look a little pretty, first you got to clean it a little. Then I'm going to take olive oil and do a quick little drizzle. That adds more nutty flavor to it. Then, if you remember my seasoning, I have a finished seasoning. That's what it looks like. You can take a little pinch of that and sprinkle over the top. And there you have it. Some good mushrooms. Here we got portobello mushrooms. These are the big boys. We're going to take and we're going to marinate these overnight. And tomorrow, we're going to cook them and have them with steak. What I just put on there was some salt. Now I'm putting pepper on there. You got to season them. Then I'm going to put them in a little container like such. I'm going to add some of my garlic to it, just like that. Beautiful. Then I'm going to add some olive oil to the middle of it. I'm going to take this one and do the exact same thing. Now, I'm going to fight with this bottle and try to get it open. Now, the good wine to use is a good red wine, or use any red wine you like to drink. That's the key element in cooking with wine, is if it's good to drink and it goes good with the food. Red wines usually go with a red meat, and, well, this is mushrooms, but we're going to have it with steak. And you pour some of this in there. Pour some of this in there. And that should be good. What I'm using, in case you're interested, which is a red wine. Now I'm going to take this one, put it down on top, and we're going to keep pressure on this until tomorrow when I cook them, and we'll take a look at it then. Oh yeah. And this is how you cook the large portobello mushrooms. What I'm doing here is putting pressure on them so they stay flat down and cook. And I'm going to save this into my sauce because all that juice is coming from the mushrooms. Now, I'm going to flip. Oops. I'm going to try to flip. And we're going to keep on cooking. Okay, here I prepared the steak. I got the steak ready. I got the mushrooms ready. Now all I got to do is finish up the plate. Let's see what it looks like. And then we have the finished product. There you have your mushroom your asparagus, your steak, demi-glace, and microgreens. And then that's another way to cook a mushroom.